over 20 unique villages in over 100 modded biomes. Integrated villages will be my most ambitious project yet. A sequel to my other mods, integrated dungeons and structures, and integrated stronghold. This mod, to be released soon, will overhaul the boring vanilla Minecraft villages with blocks and items from the mods Create, Quark, Furnish, Supplementaries, and many, many more. However, it will do it in style, with a ton of detailed texturing, create contraptions, lore, and more. Hello everyone, this is Craisin Lord, thanks for the click. In this episode we will be creating a large and vivid medieval village with Dutch inspiration. We started by looking at concept art for inspiration. From this first image we took a lot of the shapes of the buildings and the orange roofs. From the second image, we realized Dutch villages commonly had a lot of windmills, and we can totally incorporate that using the Create mod. This third image was pretty much exactly the shape that we used for the main structure in this village. The first step is to plan out what buildings we want in this village. So I'm definitely thinking for the main focal point building, it could have a dining hall and a library and be a massive structure. Next, I'm definitely thinking we need some farmhouses, some generic houses, maybe some stables to have some horses, a butcher to feed the village, blacksmith to create tools, weapons, and create contraptions, and then a shepherd. Because the shepherd, I don't know. And look at that, there's the main building. No, this was built before we decided to make this a video series. We will be constructing the interior for this bad boy and the rest of the village in this video. This main building's exterior was actually built mostly by nerds whose Instagram will be linked in the description. One thing I'd really like to point out in this main building is the large gradient that goes from dark oak planks at the top down to mud, mixing in gray terracotta, the Create Scoria block, dark oak, and even patches of spruce for contrast. This will continue throughout all of the buildings in the village. The first thing I did is I added a windmill to this large tower on the build. This was in order to help it match the Dutch style, and because Create windmills are cool, you may as well use them. I then added a rope pulley here that could be used to lift goods from the ground onto the second levels, but mostly it looks cool. Next, I started designing the interior. For the flooring, I mixed in some blocks from supplementaries such as timber cross braces and notice boards to help mix up the spruce planks and make it feel a bit more modded. I added some stripes of dark oak slabs and dark oak trapdoors mixed together to add a little bit of depth to the ceiling. I also added ropes to the part that jut out in the ceiling to blend it in a bit more. I then added some tables using some Create andesite casings with some supplementary jars, goblets, and some vanilla candles mixed in. One of my favorite parts about this interior is that chandelier at the top using note blocks and the spring launcher block from supplementaries. I started designing another room but completely scrapped it. I did not like what I was doing. That's all you get for the interior. I'll leave the rest of it a surprise for when the actual mod releases. The best thing you can do to help this mod release faster is to like this video, subscribe, comment, send it around, make sure that I know that this is something that you guys really want to see and play for yourself. It also helps with my motivation. Next, I started a farmhouse using a similar mud gradient to the main building and also a similar tower going through the middle. I also added little white terracotta boxes coming out of the structure inspired by earlier concept art that help give the structure a bit more depth and bring in that orange color. I then built a second variant of the farmhouse and then went back and added windmills to both farmhouses. I think these farmhouses turned out pretty great. They are packed with detail and are certainly miles better than the vanilla farmhouse. I made 3 normal villager houses, I guess you could say. In between this clip and the last clip, a replay mod decided, nah, I'm not gonna render it, so I don't have that footage. Anyways, onto the blacksmith. I really wanted to make this building distinct from the other one, just how it is in vanilla. However, I thought the tough bricks I used in the mostly stone base didn't really fit the theme, it felt part of an entirely different village. So to fix that, I added some wooden patchwork and did end up changing the back of the build to be mostly like the others, with the addition of that stone tower with the smelting. I used the new copycat panels and steps for the window and then moved quickly on to the interior. In the interior, I've got some pedestals in here holding up the swords and then some turntables with armor stands on them. I think this is a really great way of showing off that the toolsmith, the weaponsmith, and the blacksmith are actually doing things. They're making the armor and selling it to the other villagers. Next up is the stables. I opted for a completely orange roof rather than the mud roof the other structures have to make it stand out a bit more. I also added a chimney on the top using the new Create Copycat panels with Create Industrial Iron as the block. Next, I took one of the generic houses I made previously, turned the roof orange, and called it a butcher by putting some animals in the back. I used the Create Copper Shingles block to add a little bit of a highlight on the top of the roof. I took another one of the generic houses I made previously, added some animal pens with sheep, and there we go, Shepard. I then designed some smaller structures such as a well, lamppost, bell, and market stand. I placed all of our structures out in the middle of the ocean, ready to be placed in our village. I then used my good old friend World Edit to place our houses and structures in the correct spots. This actually took me quite a few tries. I ended up blocking sight lines and having too many in one spot. I really feel like I got a good balance of spreading them out. Getting to that balance in the coding process later down the road may be tricky. Speaking of the coding process, while you watch me place some mud blocks making the pathways, let me talk about it for a second. My process is I always do the builds first and the code second, but I've only ever really done one big structure or like a few things interconnected or like a dungeon underground. I've never done something like a village, so it'll be an interesting challenge. And there you go, the first integrated village is completed. There you go, the first village for integrated villages is completed. I have so many plans for the future of this mod, including a steampunk sky village, woodland elven village, African style village, mining underground village, and many, many more. If you have a suggestion for what village I should do next, make sure to leave a comment down below. Also, check the description for a link to join the Craisin Craft Discord where you can vote directly on which villages will make it into the mod. Thank you all for watching. This is Craisin signing off. Goodbye.